Rolling Out family. Today we are spotlighting a voice that is redefining modern soul with a vintage finesse. October London, the South Bend native and death row signee, has been turning heads with his velvet tone and inspired artistry. From topping the Billboard adult R&B charts with Back to Your Place to crafting cinematic albums like The Rebirth of Marvin and October Nights, October is bringing grown folk R&B back to the forefront. Now he's hitting the road for the October Nights Calling All Lovers tour alongside Tamar, Braxton, and Boney James. October, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good. I'm good, man. I'm good. Just gearing up for another show. We're on the road.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm excited to talk to you, man. Listen, when I'm listening to your music, I hear everybody. I know everybody say Marvin Gaye at first, right? So I hear
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye, I hear Lenny Williams, I hear Ron Isley, I hear R. Kelly. Like all of these people live in your music, but I still know it's you. How are you able to accomplish that?
I just listen to all those artists and learn from those artists all these years. I've been listening to artists like Smokey Robinson and Marvin Gaye and the Isley Brothers, all these guys. I've been listening to them since I was a kid. So I feel like it's only right to at least show, not only show obviously my side of music and how I write and how I sing, but to also pay homage to those who came before me and then came before them. So I'm always going to have those inflections sometimes in the songs because that's what I learn from. You learn from great teachers.
Yes, yes, yes. So what's your inspiration behind your latest album, October Nights?
October Nights is really I made that really to be a transitional album because Rebirth of Marvin, everyone knows by now that obviously I wasn't trying to be Marvin. I wasn't trying to be the new Marvin, but I still wanted to pay homage that way. And I feel like I did exactly what I was supposed to do. The objective was kept. It was done. And now I think I was like, I want to show more side of me. So in October
Mhm.
Nights, you get a little bit of the Marvin to kind of whisk off of that Rebirth of Marvin, but you also get me towards the middle and to the end with, songs like Kill Shot and Third Shift and Time and those type of records. So I just wanted to do something different and wanted to channel me.
Yeah, I love Kill Shot. And a lot of the R&B these days is in name alone, right? It's a lot of singing over rap production. And when I'm
Yeah.
listening to your music, your production seems extremely purposeful. Why did you
Yeah.
decide to take that route?
I just like to do what I like to do what I feel. And I think that's the best part about me being on Death Row Records is because Snoop allows me to do exactly what I want to do, feel how I feel. And, I pride myself on being a multi-genre artist. So, I'm always just trying to break new boundaries with music. So you're gonna hear whether it's pop, R&B, reggaeton, you're gonna hear all these inflections, all this music. So, I just try to be me as much as possible.
100%. You mentioned Snoop, and there's a track where Snoop shows up at the end. All I Want Is You featuring Bony James, which is a smooth track. Can you talk about your
Yeah.
creative process on that track?
Yeah. So for All I Want Is You, I had always wanted to work with Boney James since I was a kid. I used to be in the backseat of my dad's car and listening to all these jazz records. Boney James, Huge Groove, George Benson, all these guys, these greats. And I just fell in love with jazz once I got into maybe early teens. So I wasn't into it at first, but then I found it very relaxing, very chill, and I just thought it was a great genre of music. And I was one day it was crazy. I was just like, I think on this next album I want to do a record with Boney James. And it wasn't
Mhm.
even 48 hours later, and Boney was looking for me. And I was just like, that's wild, kind of how God was working the universe. He hit up my people. My people hit me up like, hey, Boney James wants to do a record with you. And I'm like, you're joking. You must have heard me say that like a day ago or 2 days ago. And they're like, no, he's been looking for you. I'm like, that's crazy. So we went ahead and did the record. And yeah, with Snoop, just with Snoop even loving jazz like that because people think that Snoop is like heavy in rap music. He's into jazz and R&B, so that's his thing.
Yeah, the universe was definitely conspiring in your favor as it always does. I'm glad you
Yeah,
put that out there and made that happen.
yeah,
You mentioned being in the backseat of your dad's car,
Mhm.
riding around listening to this music, and you are a South Bend native, right?
Yeah, that's
So
right.
how did growing up there shape your sound and who October London is?
I can't say I can't say on hand that South Bend really shaped my music like that. I, South Bend isn't really. It's not Atlanta. It's not a New York. It's not
Hmm.
in L.A. It's not in Texas. So or Chicago. So and even though we're an hour and a half away, we're probably our radio stations might be some of the last to get some of the music that's out. And I can't say it really shaped it like that. I was lucky enough to just have all this music, even my dad bringing jazz and some of my friends listening to rap. I, got into Eminem, his first, Marshall Mathers LP. And then all of my friends and family all just enjoy different genres of music, rock, all that stuff. So I was lucky enough to have it brought to me and then I expanded out. South
Yeah,
Bend was just a great place to just sit still, learn, and it was a great South Bend was a great classroom for me. I think if I would have been anywhere else like L.A. or New York or even Miami or anything like that, I think it'd have been too noisy for me to really sit down and really hone in on my craft.
indeed, indeed. So you had your single "Back to Your Place." It topped the Billboard Adult R&B chart. How did that accomplishment feel to you?
I felt great. It felt great. It was like my first number one, and it stayed on number one for I don't know, it was 10 to 12 weeks or 13 weeks, whatever it was. It was a while. So that was a great feeling, and I'm kind of still riding off that wave. But then we turn around and got number one in Mulholland Drive, and then just recently, what, a few months ago, She Keeps Calling it went number one. So and here I am about to drop three other new singles from different aspects. Oh, it's going to be insane. It's going to be insane. My country alter ego, Sam Nash. I'm about to start touring him. It's going to be insane. I plan on taking over for 2020.
Hey, 2025, let's make it happen 2025 and beyond. So the
That's right.
opening acts, Calling All Lovers tour featuring Tamar, Braxton, James is
Yeah.
you out here in the world. What can the people expect from this tour?
You can expect you can expect just real love for one another as far as the camaraderie when it comes to me and Tamar and James and Joe Leone. Joe Leone opens up for the show.
Hmm.
I think he's actually Eric Benet's artist, and you know you're just gonna see that difference. You're gonna see a lot of love. We're gonna bring love to the stage. We're all R&B artists, so we're gonna do obviously the best that we can to capture just not only the love that we have for each other, but just the love of you know just showing that love for just people, and the audience, and just the love for our craft. So that's what we're bringing to the table.
Yes, yes. Again, I know we're in the midst of the October London 2025 takeover. You
Yeah,
doing this right now, brother? In your view, we this conversation behind R&B has been happening a lot lately.
yeah.
What do you say? What do you think the current state of R&B is now, and where do you think it's going?
I still think the current state of R&B is lagging. It could be better. I just really believe that we have a lot of talented R&B artists out here, and I I think they're afraid to really go in on R&B music because maybe the money isn't there as much as you know. There's a big difference. You do a Back to Your Place, and then you do a Taylor Swift record. We know what's going to happen. R&B, that
Hmm.
Back to Your Place record went number one for several weeks. It's a hit record. But then you get a Taylor Swift pop hit, and all of a sudden it's like 20 times platinum, 23 billion streams. And so the R&B artists nowadays, they look at it and they say, well, I want to go pop because I want to make a bunch of money. They're afraid to do the R&B. R&B isn't. In the '90s, R&B just ruled everything. I
Right.
mean, '90s R&B was probably it's at its best in the '90s. You had Jodeci, H Town, all that. But I think the state of R&B is a little light right now. It should be heavier, and it starts with us R&B artists linking together. Me, Tank, Tyrese, the Genuines, the 112s, the Jagged Edge, the Bryson Tillers, even. all these artists that do R&B, we need to kind of join together and just we should do a major tour, just something big to bring back R&B. But I don't know. They could be scared. I don't know.
Hey, I mean, I think you guys can do it. I think we definitely need it. And one of the things you touched on earlier was the idea of bringing love back to the stage, right? Bringing love back to the music. Why do you feel like that's such an intricate part of this?
Well, I think it is just because that's where it all started. Any great R&B love song was brought from what it was. It was love. It was it was heartache. It was pain. People were singing out in the rain. Remember the music videos? People used to spin out in the rain, and I think Ray J might have been the last one in One Wish when he had all the water. We don't have that no more. It's raining right now. I think I should go out there at least give it a shot. But if I didn't have sound check in a second, but that's where it stemmed from. It stemmed from just that love, family presence. So I don't know. Times are changing, and I don't know if it's getting better or worse. But for R&B music, it still needs that jolt. It needs that jump. The battery is dead. It just needs to. The battery's going low. I don't want to say it's dead. The battery's low. It just needs to get charged up. We need new battery. So hopefully, I can be a part of that new battery.
For sure, for sure. You touched on this a little bit earlier. Looking ahead, what are your goals for the next phase of your career?
My goals in this next phase, which starts towards the end of this year, is really giving all my multi genre, my alter ego, giving them their shot. I think I'm gonna take a step back from R&B for a little bit, go in a little bit harder on the push on Sam Nash because it's country, the EDM house world because that's my alter ego, Dirty Chai. I just want to give them their shot and go out and do that, and then write for some other people as well.
You said Dirty Chai.
I always get it. Yeah, I name my artist that my alter ego is a house EDM vibe. It's very Avicii, very DJ Marshmello, all that kind of thing. I named him that because I always used to go to Starbucks and get what's called a dirty chai. It's basically it's a chai tea latte with a shot of espresso. And I was like, Dirty
Okay.
Chai. And I was like, I'm gonna name my album with almond milk. And I was like, man, let's do that. I want to have fun, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, this is what it's about. I got to put this out here. Just make sure you're not saying chai tea because then it's like you're saying TT because
TT,
chai,
right? Exactly.
chai
Yeah.
means.
Yep.
I'm just doing that for the culture. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to keep my brother hanging out here like
Hey,
that.
I appreciate it. You know what? I literally just learned that like 3 days ago. The dude was like,
Hey,
"You're
so
just
here
saying
I.
TT," you know.
So I'm the reminder. Any words for the people, man? What words do you have for this young man, for the young man or young woman who's listening to your album right now, looking to jump into the music world? What words do you have for them?
Usually it's kind of cliche to be like, just be yourself and all that. But I think at the end of the day, it goes beyond that. Yeah, be yourself and do. You should do what you feel like you want to do. A lot of
Hmm.
artists go to these labels. They go to the labels and they say, "I love R&B music," and they're like, "But you look like a pop artist, so we're gonna make you a pop artist." Or, "I want to do R&B, or I want to do pop, but you're R&B." Like, I've had so many conversations just in my career before the whole Snoop thing, as far as putting me out there, and they were trying to just lure me in different paths, and I didn't want to take it. I wanted to stay multi-genre, but these labels don't want multi-genre. They want one artist they can track all the time. To get off the beaten path is crazy. So I think for any artist, I say do what you want to do, and secondly, this industry is crazy, and you have to. There's a lot of politics involved, a lot of money involved. It's not just make a hit record, put it on radio, and it's gone. It's not that. I can't wait to do a TED talk about that because I'm going to give them the straight real. Like this was tough. It was tough. It's not easy at all. So it's what it is. I'm on the road right now. I'm always on the road. I just bought a new house and I'm barely there. I've been there 6 days.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So just take it one step at a time and just be yourself.
Yes, yes. And shout out to Snoop for giving you that space, right, to be able to create how you see fit.
Absolutely.
I don't, speaking to what you're saying in terms of how crazy the industry is to have somebody like the legendary Snoop Dogg to have your back, that has to be
Right.
amazing.
Right. Yep. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, he's amazing.
October. Thank you, brother, for joining us today. We truly appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Yes, yes. The October Nights Calling All Lovers Tour kicks off with a stop in Chicago Theater on May 4th, 2025. Rolling Out family, don't miss your chance to experience this soulful evening. Get your tickets now. And as I always say, stay focused, positive, and productive. Peace.